What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Restoration Rundown podcast, the podcast that's dedicated to you, the restoration business owner. My name is Ben. I'm your host, and I'm the CEO of Ironclad Restoration Marketing, where I help restoration business owners across the United States and Canada now get more sales by getting their internet marketing right. Today, I wanted to sit down and make this episode kind of simplify and maybe demystify a little bit all the misinformation that's out there about digital marketing and about how people are getting leads online for the restoration businesses. I can't tell you how many guys we talk to, and I'm talking about my team and myself, different contractors across the U.S. that handle everything. You know, whether they're indoor air quality guys, even property home inspectors, restoration business owners. Public adjusters that, they all kind of fall in that same vertical, and they're all dealing and struggling with the same thing. So today, I thought it would be prudent to talk about just 3 things that you can do for your business to get more leads in 2022, right? This is pulled strictly from our 2022 internet marketing plan that we ran in January. But I thought it would be prudent to bring this back up because it's going to simplify things and put things into perspective for you guys. Especially if you've been dealing with the normal struggles everybody has, whether it's just, hey, I'm not getting any phone calls. Our marketing agency dropped the ball. My in-house team dropped the ball. Whatever the case may be, you might be doing this stuff yourself, which I'm all about. I love DIY. Anybody that knows me knows I like to do a lot of things myself. So we're going to get right into it. So basically having a restoration business, you have to rely on, certain different ways to get leads, whether it's getting referrals from property managers, real estate agents, roofers, plumbers, et cetera, et cetera. But the nature of the world we live in nowadays in 2022, believe it or not, a good majority of new business is coming from the internet, right? Who'd have thought? If you don't know what the internet is, I can't tell you. I don't know either, but I know that it's a great way to get leads for your business, and you should have a strong online presence in order to make that happen. In my book, we talk about, the whole entire book is dedicated to digital marketing, but we specifically talk about the different online channels, and there's so many out there, and not one of them is better per se than the others, but there's 3 core fundamental that you need to be focusing on that can maybe just kind of simplify this stuff down. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here of the slide. So top 3 things you need to be focused on to get leads, right? Organic search, as you see, is on the bottom of the Ironclad's triangle of success. That should be the foundation of any marketing plan. Okay. I've had episodes before. We've talked about how important organic traffic is, how valuable it is. It's more sustainable in the long run. It's a cheaper way to get leads. And again, we're looking at a search engine result. We're looking at taking over as much real estate on page 1 as possible. And organic search is that area that's right below the maps listings. It's non-paid. It's not the pay-per-click. It's not the maps. Although you'll find out that they're tied together. They're all intertwined in a way. All right. The next middle of that, and I guess the middle of the triangle and the 3 ways, the middle and the bottom really are going more into each other. Google Business. Okay. It used to be called Google My Business. It's now called Google Business Profile. December of 2021 to January, there was a major algorithm update that rolled out. They changed the name. They've updated their parameters. And Google Business Profile is really how you can rank in the map section, right? So if we're breaking down a search engine, you've got the top, pay-per-click, then you've got the map section, then you've got your organic search. Now, the map section is also very prominent on mobile search. So, 90%, I think, or so of search results or people that are searching for a home services type of help are coming from a mobile device, right? And it makes sense. So, you're dealing with guys like we're in Florida, and we've talked about this a lot, but if we have a hurricane, we don't have power, we're not getting on our desktop computer, right? The Wi-Fi is out, power's out, we're out of luck, but we still have our phones, right? So if we're in an emergency type situation, we're going to pull our phones out and use it. And the nature of the world we live in, we are just tied to our cell phones. Nobody leaves home without them anymore. We're tethered to them. It's everything. We have everything in the world at our fingertips. So it only makes sense that, Google's algorithm, really relies heavily on mobile search. Actually, mobile and not having a mobile friendly website, you're not going to get ranked, right? So they switched to mobile first indexing quite a few years back now. So if you don't have a mobile version of your website, or your website's not mobile friendly, yeah, you probably should stop watching this video and start watching some other videos on how to make that happen. It's super important, right? So if you do have, you really don't have like a fully robust built website that's made to convert, and you might just have a landing page, you might have done it yourself. Just do yourself a favor, make sure that you have a mobile website. All right. If you have any questions about that, shoot us a message, leave us a comment. We have a ton of resources on how to do that. And in fact, we can help you through that yourself. But a lot of the website builders now that people are using, and everybody, all the CMSs, usually have mobile sites come right out the box, right? And the last thing that you need to be doing for your restoration business to get leads in 2022 is pay-per-click, right? I'll say this with a caveat. Not everybody can afford pay-per-click. It's expensive. And especially with property damage restoration, I mean, you've got to be spending at least $2,500 a month just on ads. And I implore you to make sure you're using an agency that knows what they're doing, has a track record in the restoration industry, because you don't want to just that $2,500 can go really quick. When you're talking about water damage leads or storm damage leads, if there's a storm, I mean, those cost per clicks go higher and higher and higher because it's a bidding process, right? So it's a supply and demand kind of deal. But in a perfect world, you would position yourself to have the budget to be able to do all three of these things effectively. All right. But if you're balling on a budget, you got to make sure that you have your SEO down and your Google business profile is being properly managed. And let's dive into that a little bit. So you guys might have thought that this was just a simple one and done. We're going to give you the three things, but I'm going to give you a little bit more now. I got a fresh coffee. I think that, the caffeine's starting to kick in a little bit. So we're going to talk about each one of these channels, why they're important, and what you really need to do to make them happen. All right. So I'm going to stop sharing the screen so I can find these other slides here while I'm talking. So let's talk about organic search. So if you don't know, the organic section, like I mentioned before, is right below the maps. And it's what people click to when they actually search for something. So if I was a user and I went into my kitchen was flooded, I may search for something like, what do I do if my kitchen's flooded? Or I need a water damage restoration contractor near me, right? So you're going to get a search result on Google. It's going to list pay-per-click. So it's going to be the people running their ads for water damage restoration. Then you're going to have a map section. It's going to give you the maps results of the Google business profiles of those guys that are doing it right. You want to be in that top 3, the snack pack. Those are the ones that are seen without having to click to look at more. You're going to have those, and that's based off proximity. And we'll get into that in a second. And then you're going to have the organic results. All right. Just how people's brains work, sometimes people just aren't going to look at the ads, which doesn't hurt you. If you're running pay-per-click, who cares? You're only paying when they click on it. So having that placement, having that real estate on page 1 is big. So the organic section is the area of a search engine result that is non-paid, and you rank there with a number of factors. There's over 200 ranking factors, but the first and foremost, you have to have a website that's built to convert. You have the right content on your website, the metadata, which is the back-end data and how Google reads the website and indexes it. We have another video talking specifically about that if you want to learn how search engines work. All that stuff goes into your ranking factor and pushing you up. But at the end of the day, it's all about authority. Okay. Every Google algorithm change that comes out, all of their best practices, everything they do is with the best intent on providing the most relevant results to their user base that they possibly can. Okay. The algorithms aren't there to hurt you. The only way an algorithm change hurts an agency or hurts your company is if you're doing things that aren't necessarily right. Now, yeah, there's things that come out like the mobile first indexing that, change the game. It forced people to adhere to how people were searching. And while that's a pain in the butt, it makes sense. If 90% of internet traffic is coming from a mobile device, then yeah, you should have and you are depending on having leads come from the internet, then yeah, you should have a mobile friendly website. All right. So first and foremost, you got to have a website that's built to convert. You do that with the right content. You do that with your keywords. You do that with the metadata. Having an SEO agency that's, blogging for you monthly to work on those long tail keywords is great. Adding city indicator pages on your site, all that stuff is very important to be able to rank properly in the organic section. And again, the other side note to this is if you have any experience with SEO at all, you have done SEO or you're paying somebody right now to do SEO, you know that it does take 3 to 6 months to rank, well. There's that low hanging fruit you can rank on pretty quickly. So, you have to take that into consideration when you're talking about, ROI, right? So organic search and SEO is not going to pay off. That's not a direct response type of marketing. You're building your authority, right? You're building your portfolio of keywords in Google's eyes. If you're doing it properly, you're submitting your site URLs to Google to properly index you. And that does take some time. Now, in our experience, we've seen stuff pop in month one. But we've also had, depending on, the competition that we're dealing with our clients, we've seen things take up to 6 months to rank properly. So it's an uphill battle, but when you do it right, it's the most sustainable way to continuously just have that real estate on page one. And that's what you want. All right. You got to be there. You got to have your foot in the water to be able to swim. So organic search being a foundation just makes sense. Okay. And it really, now with all the recent changes in the algorithm updates, Google's really done well to roll your Google business profile into your organic ranking factor. Now, it used to be Google business profile was a great backlink, which is part of your building your SEO strategy, is having as many other websites out there and online directories saying, hey, well, here's a restoration company. This is where they're located. Here's their website address. And basically what you're doing is you're making connections from your site to other sites. Okay. Google business profile, being that it is part of Google, is a very high authority way to drive authority to your, it's a very high level type of directory now. You have to make sure your name, address, and phone number is consistent from your Google business profile to your website, et cetera, et cetera. Same thing with social media. But Google's weighing your Google business profile a lot heavier now in 2022 than they did previously. Now, back in the day, it was, like I said, it was a great backlink to have, but even better, you could get reviews there, which did help with your ranking factor, especially in the map section. But with every algorithm change, Google's trying to close a loophole, right? So people were taking advantage of these Google business profiles. They were setting up fake businesses. So if you operated a restoration business out of Miami and you had like 25 different Google business profiles for every city, kind of like a city page, Google's shutting those down actively, because that's not really, you're not really there. It's a lot of it has to do with proximity. There's ways to rank in other areas depending on how you set your service area. And part of their algorithm change was legitimizing these profiles more, right? So we saw a few clients in January get completely suspended. We got them out, but it's just because they didn't have their service area tweaked properly, or it could have been a discrepancy in their NAP, their name, address, phone number. So they're really trying, as much as it might be a pain, they're really trying to make sure that people are legitimate. And if you are a legitimate business, then you should be happy and welcome these changes. And your agency should be doing the same thing. They should be on top of this stuff. So managing your Google business profile is huge, right? So you got to have a verified account. You have to have an address. It can't be a PO box. Can't be one of those UPS store boxes. You really have to have a physical address. But better than that, you can set a service area, right? So a lot of the times guys would tell me like, hey man, I'm running out of my house. It's a new business. And what Google does is they'll auto-populate pictures. So if you're a business and you have a verified business account, Google's pulling pictures in front of your house. Some people didn't like that. And also from a clientele perspective and a lead perspective, that may hurt you a little bit on conversions if they do look up your company and they try to vet you out and it looks like you're running out of the back of your house. That's great. There's nothing wrong with that at all. I mean, Amazon started in a garage, but it's common sense. I mean, people will look at stuff like that. So this new algorithm update, they're really weighing on you to have to set a service area, which is great because then you can kind of, mix and match the areas that you work in. And then you can work, you're going to have the rankings under proximity, but you can also set your service area. Other thing you want to make sure you're doing on your Google business profile is making sure you're adding photos frequently. So if you work in X city, but you also have a service area that encompasses another city, make sure that when you're doing jobs that you're throwing pictures up from that area. So Google's going to use the data that's from those pictures, like location. Their AI is going to scan those photos and say, what is in the photo? Where is this photo taken and who took it? Okay. So that kind of stuff will help you. And it also helps with conversions, right? But the big one is getting reviews, so whoever has the most reviews is typically going to be in a better position to rank better. And, getting Google reviews is tough. I understand that. It is very hard. But the mentality behind the review system is, if you can get people to leave you a good review, that's huge, because normally people leave bad reviews when they have they have an issue. They'll think about if you've been to a restaurant and had a crappy meal or had crappy service, like the first thing you do, well, some people do, is go out and leave a bad review, right? But how many times have you had a great experience at a restaurant and it's like, wow, this is great, and you just go home, go to sleep? So that's why they weigh so heavily on those good reviews, because when you do have a good experience and you are going to take that time to go out and give a good, legitimate review, it does weigh on your ranking, your organic ranking factor. So, you see how they're tied together. So having a verified Google business profile with good reviews and the right kind of content, and your website set up the same, they work in tandem. Okay. Whereas your organic section doesn't affect your map section, your maps listing does affect your organic rankings, especially if you're using city indicator pages like we talk about in the book, or that we actually do here as part of our SEO strategy. So, the two things: make sure you have a website, make sure it's mobile friendly, make sure you have the right content, make sure you have a verified Google business profile. You're going to find out right away if your Google business profile is up to standard, because if it's not, it's going to get suspended, and it is a pain in the butt to get it unsuspended. You have to provide so much documentation and so many photos and things like that. Look at Google's best practices, look at their guidelines for the Google business profile, and follow them to a T. If you have questions, they have an entire knowledge base. I have an entire knowledge base. You can ask us. There's a ton of Facebook groups that are amazing for learning different ways how you can leverage your Google business profile to get leads. So now let's talk about pay-per-click. I mentioned before that, SEO takes 3 to 6 months to rank. Google business profile takes some time to go. If you're doing it right, it does take time. Adding the photos, getting the reviews, that stuff can take a lot of time. All right. Outside of the real optimization that a digital marketing agency can do for you, just the stuff that you have to do, getting reviews and the photos. They have a posting capability in Google business profile. It is awesome. We're actually using it to help our clients rank in their service area cities as well. So we're going to have an episode strictly on that. There's so much to talk about when it comes to that. And actually it's changing right now. It's very new. But we are kind of getting our heads wrapped around it, and we're getting really great results. So pay-per-click. So pay-per-click is the top of the pyramid. It is the top of the search engine result. And it's something that you need to be, if you can afford it, it's amazing. So SEO, Google business, takes some time to get to. So it's leads in the future, right? Pay-per-clicks are leads right now, right? So getting a pay-per-click campaign set up on Google Ads is going to get you placement at the top of the search engines right away. Setting them up properly with a call tracking and stuff like that, you're really able to mess with your ROI and really see your ROI in real time. And if you work with an agency that knows what they're doing and has a track record in your industry, then it might take you a week, maybe 2 weeks to tweak these ads the right way. But you should start getting that phone ringing right off the bat. But I will say, you got to be prepared to spend, right? You're walking a very fine line when it comes to your money that you're spending on pay-per-click, because on one hand, I've seen people not work with maybe the best pay-per-click managers in the world and just blow so much money because people aren't watching it. They're not optimizing the ads. And then I've seen people not spend enough to where, maybe they're spending $1,000 a month or $500 a month, but for a water damage lead could be $150. So what, you're going to have 3 clicks on your site and then your ad budget's gone, or somebody outbids you. And maybe out of those 3 clicks to your site, none of them call you. So you're not converting. You got to have enough money to play the game. Some of our clients spend upwards over $10,000 a month on ads. They can afford it, but they're also getting the results because they wouldn't be spending it. They wouldn't have been in business for 30 years if they're just throwing money out the door. So it really does take a very intimate process with whoever's doing your ads to make sure that you're optimizing them properly. But I think a good foot in the door, good start for pay-per-click, you got to have at least $2,500 a month to be able to spend on ad revenue. Now, the beauty of that is you can adjust on the fly. And if you do it right, that $2,500 should come back to you tenfold. Okay. I mean, if you got one fire job out of that, you're paying, outside of your overhead, you're doing pretty well. So you got to be careful not to overspend. You got to be careful not to underspend. There is a sweet spot that lies in the middle, but ideally you should have that entire triangle of marketing done and be omnipresent, especially when it comes to Google, right? So now you're taking over the ad section, you're getting leads right now, which is helping fund your marketing spend on organic, which eventually is going to start paying for itself, because once you're there and you're maintaining your site properly and your agency or your agency is maintaining it properly with the right content, you're only going to grow. So once your organic stuff starts kicking in, that's like money in the bank. It's icing on the cake. Your Google business profile is going to get you those leads from the maps results and your mobile phone. And that's really the best way to position yourself. So, we do get asked all the time, hey, what can we do? We need to get leads. We need to get this business going. We've worked with agency after agency. I've fired and hired 15 people to do this stuff. It really boils down to doing those three things: making sure that you're properly, doing SEO, search engine optimization. You're managing and working with your Google business profile actively. It's a lot of work. And you're managing and running pay-per-click ads, right? That's the holy grail. So we have a brand new client that comes in. They don't have a website. They don't have anything like that. That's what we're going to propose to them right off the bat, because the ads are going to get you some revenue right away in month one. You're going to get some quick wins. And it gives you a little bit of breathing room to get the site built. Sites take 4 to 6 weeks to build. Your SEO takes a few months to get into place, but you can't start really doing SEO actively until the site's done. And your Google business profile takes some time. You got to be able to get jobs. You got to be able to get pictures and content to really complete that puzzle, that picture, right? But really, you need to make sure that you are omnipresent, okay? And being omnipresent is the most important thing you can do, because you don't want to put all your eggs into one basket. You want to have some sort of marketing going on everywhere. You want to have those referrals coming in. You want to be managing your social media profiles to get repeat referral business, that top of mind mentality, showing off your work. I will say, social media, in my opinion, and I say this in my book, hey, we show you how to do it yourself. It's usually for a restoration contractor or any kind of home services, social media management. It's gonna sound weird, but it's usually best to do it in-house. And I'm talking about the day-to-day posting, right? Because what ends up happening is you're gonna pay an agency to do social media for you, right? Well, what's that agency gonna need? Well, you're obviously gonna want to show off your business, your brand, your team, your people, your jobs, right? Well, that means you've got to take the pictures. You've got to send it to the agency. You've got to write the content saying, hey, this is where the job was, and this is where it was at, and this is what we did. That agency is literally just going to take this stuff and they're going to post it. So if you're going to go through all the motions to do all that work, you're going to save 5 minutes not posting it on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube. Twitter, whatever channels you want to use. And I would say use all of them, syndicate that content. I don't know. I like to see contractors do that work themselves. That shows me that they're committed just as we are. They're not treating our agency as a service, but we're a partnership. So having somebody manage your social media ads is one thing, but the day-to-day posting is usually left. I always say, hey, let's try to work on doing this yourself. Here's how I would do it. This is what we're looking for, because again, people aren't going onto Facebook looking for a restoration contractor. But if you have a good amount of followers and you're engaging and you're active on these social media channels, when they do need a restoration contractor, guess who they're going to think about? You. So it's great for top of mind mentality, but it's not like a direct response type of marketing. I wouldn't go too crazy with it. And again, do it in-house. If you can't manage to do your social media in-house, you're never going to be happy with any agency that does it, because they're not going to come to your location and take pictures for you unless you find a freelancer, which is another great way to do it and might save you some money. So to wrap it up, the top 3 things you got to be doing right now if you want to get leads, if I was starting a restoration company right now, is I would build a website that's mobile friendly, make sure I have the right content in there with a very strategic SEO strategy, and base that off the types of jobs you want to get. Don't treat it like program work and just take whatever you can get. Hey, if you want to do only water damage jobs, then your whole site needs to be based around that, and all your content does. Okay. Website, SEO, Google business profile. It's going to become an even bigger deal. I think the more we move into this, I love the changes they've made. I love the results that we've been getting for our clients. And then pay-per-click. If you can afford it, man, those 3 things right off the bat right now, if I was going to start a restoration company, any home services company, Those are the 3 things I would do right now. And I guarantee you're going to get leads. I can't guarantee that you're going to get top level rankings with your SEO. Can't guarantee you're going to get top level maps rankings. But if you do things right, and if you're using an agency, treat them like a partner instead of a service, and you guys are working together to try to figure this out, you will get the results that you're looking for. And you can't neglect digital marketing anymore. Like, you can have leads coming in from 50 property managers in your cities, and every roofer in the country could be sending you stuff. But as fast as they can be sending you those leads, you've got competition coming in that is going to take them away from you. These people can die. They can move. They can shut their businesses down. So cast that wide net, be omnipresent. Don't neglect your digital marketing. In fact, 90% of small businesses that fail because they neglect their marketing. All right. So, there's an unlimited amount of resources out there to do this stuff yourself. There's a handful of really great companies out there that can do this stuff for you. The best thing that I can say is educate yourself on all of this, because you can better hold somebody accountable. I mean, I've seen people move on from agencies that were doing a great job just because they didn't understand what was going on. There's so many different things that can affect your phone ringing outside of just digital marketing, that you really have to have a really good understanding of what the analytics mean. A good agency should be going over this stuff with you every month, or quarterly. Some clients want to go over it quarterly. They're getting the jobs, they're happy, go over it quarterly, everything looking good. All right, let's keep going. But just be careful and educate yourself. Like, you can get my book on Amazon. If you want a free copy, send me a DM. Sometimes I go to the post office. I just feel like sending some books out. Shoot me a message. Follow my YouTube channel at Ironclad Restoration Marketing. I mean, I think we put up a video every single day with just some little tip and tweak and trick. This podcast is a great resource, and hopefully it continues to grow. We're going to have other guests on, industry titans when it comes to marketing. We're really excited for. We're going to have other restoration contractors come on, like we just did last week with John Isaacson from Eris Restoration, the Diojo, the man himself. So use these tools and these resources just to get better, sharpen your tools, right? So every little thing you learn is just another tool that you can put in your bag. And when you're ready to offload this to an agency, you're going to be prepared, and you're going to know right away if they're worth a crap or not. All right. And that's going to be it for today. Top 3 things you need to do to get leads for your restoration business from online: SEO, website, Google Business Profile Management, and pay-per-click. And if you could do all 3 of those effectively, you will be on your way to growing your business the right way. Thanks for tuning in to the Restoration Rundown. Drop us a review, like this episode, share our episode in any of the Facebook groups or any other groups that you're in. We'd love to help. I want to hear what your problems are, and we just want to share some value out there with all you guys that are out there fighting the good fight, restoring people's property. Until next time, I will talk to you soon. Take it easy. We'll see ya.